Okay, welcome back. Today I'm going to be hopefully figuring out the pterodactyl to player collision. So if it's on frame 3, which is our tongue is sticking out on our pterodactyl there, oopsie, and there's a left collision, that's when we need to kill the pterodactyl instead of kill us. So by the end of this episode, hopefully, if it's 3 and we hit, the pterodactyl would die instead of us. Because right now, if the pterodactyl hits us, we kind of just die. So, I'm a little out of it today. I don't know, I'm just in a kind of bum mood. So I probably won't program too much, but we'll try to figure it out. So basically my thought is, before we check if the player dies, we need to, right here, like we need to check if the joust will kill the pterodactyl first. So my reasoning is to say if our monster left collides. Well, okay, so we actually need something. We need to check if monster is facing left. If monster is facing left, then we need to check if we're facing, yeah, because we need to check the X and Y position of our, actually, I'm not sure this would actually matter because the Y should be the same height. I don't know. I'm just gonna try it this way. If the monster's facing left, then if the monster left collides, see, look, so I guess we have to see if our player 1 is dot facing right while our pterodactyl is facing left, meaning they're facing each other. Then if the monster left collides with our player, then we need to see the Y position. So if we look at this right here, starting from 2 or 3 pixels down, probably about 3 or 4 pixels of a window to stab them in the mouth, right? So we need to say this checks if we're facing, hold on a sec, and facing right is false. See, this is a little silly. If we're not player 1 safety and we're facing left, we can just say not facing right instead of the equality operator there, because it's a Boolean. And this is already checking to see if the monster's facing left. So we can take this out. We can just say if player's facing right, then if, and we can do the same thing for this. Instead of is true, we just ask it as a evaluative expression or whatever. So we can say our player 1 temporary safety has to be false. We're not invincible. And our monster has to be facing left. Then if our player 1 is facing right and we left collide with a player 1 on our monster, then if our player 1 dot y, I need to say if our player 1 dot y is greater than our self.monster y, but not just greater than, we need it greater than the top 3 pixels or 2 pixels. And not only that, but we need to also make sure that our player 1 y is smaller than, remember we said about 3 or 4 pixels of leeway, so we need it to, it needs to be lower than 2 pixels from the top of our monster, and it needs to be higher than, if we give it 4 pixels, then we would say +6. 4 pixels of leeway to get the collision, or to get the ostrich kill. So we would say self.monster.exploded gets true. And I don't believe we have this field just yet. So in our pterodactyl class, we actually do. But we're not doing anything with it. We have to only render if not self-exploded, then do our render, and then otherwise if exploded, we'll write something here, but we'll have to add the 4th frame, the dead frame of our pterodactyl here if we're exploded. For now, I think I can leave this blank. I don't think it'll yell at me. But yeah, so what should happen, we don't move our pterodactyl to the graveyard upon explosion, which we'll need to. So we'll say, we'll do that here. We'll say if self-exploded, then self.x gets, we'll just say -20 on both x and y. We're moving it off screen so it can't collide with things, right? We should probably do 25 because its width is 24. So if we're exploded, move us to the graveyard. We'll still need to add our last x and last y so we can render our dead sprite at the last location we were, but we'll have to move our actual object out so we can't collide again. So this should do it. If we're in the right threshold of height, it should do it. It should disappear our pterodactyl, which isn't exactly right because we need to make sure it's on frame 3 with our mouth open. But for right now, I'm just gonna see if the collision is looking okay, or if it works at all. So come on, where are you? We get exploded set to true for some reason right off the bat, which is why we weren't rendering. Oh, shh. Okay, so I need to try... Dude, okay, hold on. I need to turn off... I'm going to turn off the vulture spawning. I can actually just take this vulture spawn timer, which starts at 10, we can just start this at 100 and give us 90 seconds before they start spawning. In theory. Okay. So let's see if we disappear here. The pterodactyl, I mean. Okay. We do, but it also kills us. Because we do yeah. We need to only do one of these things. So this logic where we die needs to be part of this. If they collide, then if they're in killing range, do that. Else, or I guess we can say else if all of this logic. Then if we collide with player one, well, we can exit this. If the monster top collides or bottom collides. That's not quite right, actually. That might stop us from killing our player. Huh. Our pterodactyl should have disappeared. Okay. Now... Okay, so like right now I'm just testing the variance. Okay. I think it's because we don't want it to be too easy. I think it needs more lenience on the top. Because I feel, oopsie. I feel like this should probably kill the pterodactyl when it kills the player. So maybe we say, give it one more pixel of lenience there. So this should probably kill. That should kill the pterodactyl, which it kills the player. So maybe we just say SB greater than the Y and smaller than the Y plus 5. Oh, and you know what? This is actually a little off. That did both. Fuck. That shouldn't happen. Okay, because it's not... Yeah, we're not checking... I see what's happening here. I mean, I don't see what's happening with why it killed the pterodactyl and the player there, but... when we're checking just the Y like this, since they're different heights, we need to be offsetting for the joust. So we need to say player 1 Y plus however many frames down for the joust, which is 4 frames down. So we need to see if our player 1 Y plus 4 is greater than the top of the monster plus 1, and that the joust is also smaller, the joust height is also smaller than the monster Y plus maybe 6, I don't know. Let's see if that seems to be more accurate now. So this height here should probably kill the pterodactyl. Okay. Now let's check the bottom end. This height here should probably be the last pixel that kills the pterodactyl. It didn't kill the pterodactyl, it killed us. So let's give it one more pixel of leniency and see if this kills the pterodactyl. It didn't. If player 1y plus 4 is greater than the 1 and it's smaller than, yeah, I don't know. It seems like 7 pixels of leniency is a bit much, but this should kill the pterodactyl, not us. Shit, man. We come straight on. Yeah. I feel like that should kill the pterodactyl. Okay. Maybe I'm okay with that. That probably should have killed the pterodactyl too. Okay. I think this is okay. I don't know if we can get it to kill both of us again. Maybe if we move really fast. Wow. I went right through it. So this is the one thing we'll have to consider. If we're going that fast, it doesn't know that we collided because we only have a 2-pixel detection box alongside our pterodactyl. So if we're going full speed to the right and pterodactyl's flying full speed to the left, we could miss the collision completely. So we'll have to test that somehow. I think that's okay. Looks like we have 7 pixels of leniency, which seems like a lot. It should be from the 1 pixel above to 8 pixels. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that seems a bit much, but I think it's okay. We don't want it to be too easy, but we also have to check and self monster dot frame is equal to 3 in order to explode the pterodactyl. So we've got a self frame and it needs to be on frame 3, which is right here. This one with the mouth open would kill it. So let's see if that, let's see, we're gonna be right at killing height, but make contact when our tongue is not out, right? Yeah, that killed us. But now if we're just at the right height and we make contact when our tongue is out, our pterodactyl should die. Yep, cool. So we need to do our last X, last Y so we can render our death sprite. So I'm giving us a field called last X and a field called last Y, assigning them or initializing them to 0. Then if it's almost like hold on, I'm thinking like we need to put all this update logic into if not exploded. And we need to update our last X if we're not exploded. Otherwise, just move our pterodactyl to the graveyard. So I'm gonna cut this and say if self exploded, if not self exploded, then do all this stuff. And then this can be else. And then for so if we're exploded, we shouldn't update our last X or Y or change our X in any way. But we need to say that our last X gets our current X on every frame that we're not exploded. And our last Y gets our current Y. And then as soon as we're exploded, these last X and last Y positions won't update because they just won't get updated because we're exploded here. So then we need to say, you know, else if exploded, we need to render. We actually need to set the viewport. So here we're setting the viewport to its current frame plus fucking hell. Okay, whatever. We just need to set our viewport. If we're exploded, we need to set our viewport, not at X offset, but we need to do what, we're 24 wide, so the fourth, we're 24 wide, then right here is going to be 24 times 3 plus 3 for each pixel buffer. So 24 times 3 is what? It's going to be 72. 72 plus our 3 pixel buffer, so 75. So setting our viewport, our X on our viewport gets 75, which should be the very first frame. Actually, it should be 1 pixel behind, giving us the 1 pixel buffer here. Yeah. So we're going to set our viewport to that. And then if self dot facing right is true, then we render the non-flipped sprite. And it's the same code here because we're setting the viewport to this pterodactyl sprite right here. And then else we flip it. So the last thing we need to do is say we're not rendering it at self X because we actually move it to the graveyard. We're moving it to the last X and the last Y. Same with this. So if we did this any correct, we should, upon our pterodactyl death, see that fourth sprite of the pterodactyl being dead. Hey, yeah, buddy! Heck yeah. That's cool, man. And then we need to, if we're exploded, so we need like an explosion timer, basically. Or, How do we do this? Because I'm trying to only render that for a certain amount of time. You know, we want it to be, we want it to render the death and then stop rendering it after 3 seconds or so. So it's not on there permanently. So maybe 2 seconds. So maybe we say we need like an exploded timer that gets decremented upon exploded. And then if our exploded timer is greater than 0, we render that. So we can have a exploded timer that gets set to 2 seconds, initialized at 2, and we don't decrement it until we're exploded. So we're gonna say our self.exploded timer gets itself its current exploded timer minus delta time. So that'll become 0 after 2 seconds. And then we say, if we're facing right, then if self, maybe we do it up here. We say, we set the viewport, then we say, if self.exploded timer is greater than 0, hasn't reached 0 yet, then we render those things. And it won't render those things if exploded timer is smaller than 0. But then we also need to say, like, because we don't want that number going into 0 infinity, so we just say if exploded timer is smaller than 0, then exploded timer is 0, gets 0. And it'll only render that if this is greater than 0, not equal to 0. So that should render our death, our pterodactyl death frame for only 2 seconds and then disappear. Nice, man. Okay, so the last... Oh no, we already added the frame 3. We already added the frame 3, so I guess let's just test and make sure. Yep, that kills us. Okay. We also need to, when the player dies, we need to also kill the pterodactyl. So, that's not too huge a deal just yet, but yeah, we won't do that just yet, I don't think. Just because we don't have a way of instantiating new pterodactyls at the moment. And I'd like to be able to test some stuff. So, like, what we do need to do is the facing right implementation of killing us, which we've got the ptero facing left, but then if we're facing right, we need to do the similar thing here. We need to say if player 1 is facing left, gosh, it's hard to look at this crap. So we're gonna say so monster's facing right, then we need to check if our player is facing left. So if not player 1 dot facing right, then do this. If we're facing left, then See, this needs to be the else if. And we need to ask if our monster right collides instead with our player one, because our pterodactyl's facing right and our player's facing left, so we would be a right collision. So not right collides, player one. So if we're facing right and we're facing left and they're facing right, they're being the pterodactyl, then we need to check the instance of height, and we can say basically the same thing here, that ry plus 4, which is our joust, or our lance, hello, our lance height is in that acceptable tolerance of making a collision. So if our lance height is greater than 1 pixel below the top of our monster, and our lance height is smaller than 8 pixels lower than the top of our monster, and our monster is on frame 3, meaning its mouth is open, then monster exploded would get true. That would render the death frame and place it in the graveyard. Otherwise, if self-monster just right collides, or if it top collides, or if it bottom collides, we die. So, to test this, now we need to set our vulture. I think we're setting our monster dot, oops, control find, self dot monster dot facing right. Where do we set this to be only left? I think we just set it upon the instantiation, maybe. So we'll say if this is false, hopefully our monster will be facing. Wait a second. This is true. Oh, here, we set it here. Facing right gets false. So how about facing right gets true? So we can test if our new direction works. So now we need to be facing this way. I'm going to try to get when my tongue is out so we can see if our pterodactyl dies. I missed the frame there. Nice. And it's facing the correct flipped way. So I think we might be good on that. For right now, I'm going to switch this back to false. I'm going to give me a note here, say overwrites direction. Please adjust when spawning logic in place. And then, yeah, you know what? I want to test one more thing. Instead of the thing I want to test is the pterodactyl going full speed this way and us going full speed this way. And if when that collision is detected, it's greater than that 2 pixel boundary, which I think it is. Because then we would miss the collision and then we would either register a top or bottom, which would kill us, but it should actually kill the pterodactyl in that scenario. We should probably test this right now. We should probably test it. So what I'm going to do is we can leave our mouse just need to not update our mouse, not update ourself by our mouse, go back to updating our DX, but then we need to turn off our, we need to give ourselves a neutral DX and DY. Well, neutral DY, and then a max speed DX. And then we need to spawn our pterodactyl at a Y of not this, but I'm gonna actually just, I'm gonna keep that over here as a comment, and then I'm gonna put it at not our ground level, our ground platform.y shifted by a pterodactyl height, which is 16. Basically, I'm wanting the pterodactyl to be moving just straight left, right at ground level, so we can test. One other thing we need to do, though, is to take off the frame 3 so we can test this a little easier. On the in the play state on the frame 3 for the dying, we need to take that out so we can say, oopsie, we just need to take the frame 3 out for now. And then now hopefully we've got a pterodactyl flying to the left. Oops. Well, not quite. We need it to be flying to the left. I thought we had, if our DX was negative, if our DX is greater than 0, which it was, facing right was true, but it was actually not facing the correct direction, which I thought would be impossible. Okay, whatever. So that shows me that, oh god, it's not looping either. Where's our looping? So it needs to be a little lower, I think. Oh, a little higher. Maybe like 10 pixels higher. So at minus 26 instead of 16. Because we're trying to, yes. Okay. So, but the thing is, we need, we need to be running the opposite direction as fast as we can. Here we go. Okay. So we need to be at top speed and then run into him. And it detects it. So let's see, it looked a little slow to me. So if our max DX was actually 2 instead of 1.5, is that still the case? I keep killing him. We need to spawn him further away from us. Help me remember there's a minus 30 there. Fuck. He's just flying, man. See, and that needs to kill us, actually. See, look, we miss it there. You know, it depends on where we land it, but we miss it there. That's what I was worried about. for right now, shit. We need to fix that, but I don't think I'm going to be able to fix that just yet. We also need, you know, the collision if we're facing the other way and the pterodactyl's eating our butt. So we need to add collision player and ptero facing same direction, which we don't have at the moment. And then we need to make sure the player can kill ptero in both at full DX. And maybe we leave it with a little bit of chance, like, you know, you can't guarantee a kill on him like that, because you saw it was possible, but it took the second try to do it. So maybe I don't know if we leave that in as a maybe you'll kill him. It seems a little not fair, I think. So maybe we do try to fix it. I think that would just mean we give it one more pixel of side. Maybe we just do that right now, man. One more pixel of side collision detection. So if we look in our pterodactyl left collide, we're offsetting it by 3 here. 3. We're checking to see if our x is greater than the okay, so this is in terms of the pterodactyl. So pterodactyl's x would be greater than I don't know. I feel like just adding 1 pixel would be the thing I'm trying to do here. So we're still at 2 on the DX, right? That looked like it worked. Let us try it again. It's just because it worked once doesn't mean it works every time. Oopsie. Okay. We weren't at the right height there because we were still aerial. It looks like it works. So we just giving it that 1 extra pixel. I don't think we'll have the pterodactyl fly faster than that. That's pretty obnoxious, right? That's pretty fast. I feel like 1.8. Okay. So I think it's safe to say that that's okay. It hasn't messed up once yet. That wasn't a mess up, that was me dying. Okay. Okay, I'm happy with that. So the 4 instead of the 3 fixes our DX problem. I'm gonna leave this at 1.8 because I don't think 2 is quite so fast. I guess I'll put, I don't know, I kind of want to leave this because we need to do more testing with the pterodactyl, so because we need to do the other collisions. We're not facing the directions. So I guess for now, before I commit, I want to make sure we're getting any weird things turned off. It's hard to remember what I turned off or didn't turn off, but I guess this is fine. Yeah, I think this is okay. We're getting good enough at reading our code base where we can just find the things we need to switch and swap them back. Okay. Yeah. So we've got player and vulture collision implemented. We do this, we render the pterodactyl at the last X and last Y. We haven't done that yet, but we did add player kills pterodactyl logic. Oh, yeah, we need to either turn back on the frame 3 or yeah, maybe we just turn back on the frame 3 because I think we've got the kill pterodactyl logic okay. We just need to make sure that it kills us when we're facing other directions too, which should be an easy enough fix to do. I'm just like already kind of pooped from programming today. This put me in a better mood, I think. You know, I was really in a bummed out mood. If I would have ran into bugs galore, I think I would have been really frustrated, but we didn't. So it's always good to get what we wanted to do done in the episode, so it's a big success. Next episode, you know what? Let's just do it, man. Let's just fix, because we're so close to doing it. Let's just fix our if we're facing the same direction that we get killed. So look, right now we're only dying if the monster's facing right and we're facing right. No, if the monster's facing left and they're facing left. So we need to also say, we need to do if player 1 dot facing right and self dot monster dot facing right, and so then I guess we can say if we're both facing right, else if not facing right and not facing right, not facing right and not facing right, then we need to say if, oopsie, if, oh, God, if, what's going on? Let's just do it one at a time. If we're facing right and they're facing right, then if self.monster left collides, right collides, top collides, or bottom collides with our player 1, then we die. So we're going to say if monster right collides, I guess we need to say or left collides. Self.monster colon left collides, and then put in as an argument the player 1, or right collides with player 1, or top collides. Basically any collision detected with player 1, if we're facing the same direction, that means the pterodactyl will kill us. Because if we touch the pterodactyl's butt with our joust, we still die, because the pterodactyl is just OP like that. So we need to say player 1 dot death gets true in that case. Then else if we're facing left and they're facing left, then the same thing. then check all collisions and kill us. So now, since we have that, kills player if collision while facing same direction as Tiro. And then now, yep, it kills us when it eats our butt. Which is not a bad way to go. Cool. And it also killed us on the top. Nice. Okay. I'm going to assume that if we face left, let's just test it. Make sure that it still works if we're facing, or if our pterodactyl is going to the right. Okay, that's not right. I think we need this up here. Does that fix that problem? Bro, facing right is true. Why are you facing left? Oh, we're facing left because we're moving to the left. And it's set to the DX direction. Okay. So now, if it eats our butt that way, we die. Cool. That should be right. So I'm going to switch that back. Switch this back. We can move this back down here, I guess. Doesn't really matter. And then we took off our frame 3, right? Frame 3, no. Yep. Frame 3 is active now. Let's just give it a shot. Let's see how hard it is to kill this guy. Oopsie. So in order to kill this guy, yeah, we need to joust him in the mouth like that. That's pretty sick. But it's harder when he's, you know, going up and down like that, so it is possible, but not easy. Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. So yeah, he's pretty strong, but he can be killed. That's pretty awesome. Fuck. He's hard to kill, man. Gotta get that timing just right. That's pretty awesome. Because it kind of should be really hard, you know? I don't know if I agree with that. I've kind of felt like he should have died there. And if we want to make it harder or easier, we can, you know, make him transfer the different frames faster or slower. I think that's a good middle ground. God damn, he's tough to kill. Yeah, okay, here, I'm gonna really try this time, okay. There we go. That's awesome. Let's try one more time, see if we can get him one more time. Because you can kind of like hear the beats. Yeah, you could kind of feel the beats for him. But you gotta get the Y just right, and when he's going like this, it's tough to get that window. So should we turn back on our DX or our DY for our pterodactyl now, since we've got that fixed? Probably. So go back to giving him a Y velocity, which will get flipped upon collisions and stuff. And then I'm going to go back to putting his spawn point not at our level. And then, yeah. Oh no. We're overriding his facing direction. Cool. So now it should be much harder to kill him. Yeah, dude, that's freaking brutal. That's brutal. You gotta hit him right in the mouth while he's doing that. Fuck. Fuck. Dude, he's hard to kill. He should be. I mean, yeah, he should be. Come here. Get killed. Get done, just die. Oh. I want to kill him when he's going crazy like this. Oh, that was close. That was close too. Shit. He's good. That was almost it. Fuck, that was almost it. Dude, he's freaking brutal. Get shit on, son. Okay. Well, we killed him. It should be that tough, you know. Or at least about that tough. Cool. That was a good amount of things to get done, I feel like. We get diff, we can see, we gave ourselves a bit faster top speed on our pterodactyl X velocity. We fixed our exploded to false upon initialization. We gave ourselves 2 new fields, last X and Y, to render our 4th frame of pterodactyl death. And we also gave ourselves an exploded timer. We tweaked our side collision to kill the pterodactyl upon fully moving at the top speed. We moved our update logic into not self-exploded so that when we are self-exploded, we stop updating our last X and Y so that we can move our pterodactyl into the graveyard without rendering our sprite there. Then we render our sprite, our death sprite at our last X and Y, not at the X and Y of our object because we move it to the graveyard. And then we decrement our exploded timer for exploded. Here's where we move it to the graveyard. And then we set our exploded timer to 0. We should probably change this. We should probably say if exploded timer, we should probably only decrement this if exploded timer is greater than 0. So let's fix this real quick. So in our, here we can say, if exploded timer is greater than 0, then decrement if exploded timer is greater than 0, then decrement our exploded timer, and then when exploded timer becomes 0 or lower, wait, if this should be flipped. If exploded timer is greater than 0, which it gets initialized as greater than 0, then we decrement, and then as soon as it becomes 0 or smaller than 0, it stops decrementing, and then we don't have to reset our thing to 0 every single frame. We don't have to decrement every frame and reset it to 0 every frame. We're just trying to stop it from being a number that gets smaller and smaller and smaller every single frame. Cool. So yeah, we only decrement if it's bigger than 0. Okay. And then Part of me wants to just, when I was typing some notes here, I didn't have it all caps, but it doesn't really matter. You know, like this is not in all caps and this is not in all caps. We did this, so we can say this is just, we can call it Lance to pterodactyl collision. Lance to pterodactyl collision. And then facing the same directions, kills when ptero. Kills check if joust kills ptero when ptero facing left. And player facing right. Check if joust kills ptero when ptero facing right. And player facing left. And then kills player if collision while facing same direction as ptero. And then I guess we can just say, you know, bounces ptero off floor, and this is bounces ptero off top screen, top of screen, and then we update monster, and then we render our monster. We should render our monster along with our player. Because when we had the game over state, the game over was rendering first the red screen and then ptero on top, but now I moved it back here. So we should render the ptero and then the game over screen on top of that. So that should fix that. And then we can commit. Let's do a git, add everything to the staging area with the commit message saying added pterodactyl death logic and sprite. Yep. And then we can git push it to our origin main. Call it a day. Tomorrow, let's see, we did that. Make sure player can kill pterodactyl at full DX. We need to do this to instantiate pterodactyl upon player death. And we'll do that when we add these random spawning of our pterodactyl, and then we need to add when to do it, when and where to spawn our pterodactyl. So that'll be next. And then we're basically done with the pterodactyl, which is freaking awesome. Then we gotta do the tier system, which is gonna be the toughest part. We gotta add egg hatching, then we gotta add AI for the vulture to find the egg. When it collides, it upgrades tier system, which not only makes it worth more points to kill, but it changes its sprite and changes its AI. And we need to keep track of how many vultures are on screen at any given time so that we can set the appropriate pterodactyl spawn time, because it's based on how many vultures are on screen. So if we kill a vulture, but then if we kill a vulture, then don't collect the egg, and then it upgrades, it would need to increase that time for a pterodactyl spawn, because then one more vulture will be on screen. So that's going to be a little tricky. And then we gotta make sure the pterodactyl dies upon our death, and that we can keep instantiating a new self monster on top of that. And then we might actually need to add We'll have to check the original. It's tough because it's tough to kill the pterodactyl in the original, so I want to see if when the pterodactyl gets killed in the original, if there's a little explosion sprite or not. I'm not sure there is. Is there explosion sprite for pterodactyl? We'll have to figure that out and add it if necessary. And then once we get the tier system working, then we can work on all the wave logic. And it's a lot, but the pterodactyl's looking so good. And it's really feeling like a game now, you know? So yeah, I'll catch you guys tomorrow, and we'll try to get some more stuff implemented. Thanks for watching.